So to start off, my name is Teresa. I am a student assistant and peer advisor. We have other staff in the study abroad office here as well. And this event is, again, a study abroad alumni panel. So we have four students here that are here to talk about their experience. And I have some preset questions for them. And after I ask those, you guys are free to ask whatever you want. So if you have questions, think about it now, write it down, but hold on to them until like the second half of it. And before we get started, I want to play our opening video just because it's such an inspiring video. And every time I watch it, I want to study abroad again. So I'm going to play that for you guys while everyone gets situated, enjoy some good music and some good vibes. Okay, give me 1 second as I set this up. All right, so we are going to get started with the actual alumni panel now. So we're going to start off with Amber, and the question I have for you guys is to just introduce yourselves to everyone. You can talk about your major, your minor, your degree, what grade you're in. So if you are fourth year, or if you've already graduated from Cal State Long Beach, and where and when you studied abroad. So we're going to start off with Amber.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Amber. I graduated CSULB last year, so May 2019. So I'm an alumni now, and my major was communications. And I have the itinerary pulled up just to make sure I answer all your questions. And I studied abroad in Tokyo last year. It's for spring 2019 semester, and I was there from March to August. Tokyo.
Thank you. All right. Christina, you are up.
Great. Can everyone also hear me?
Yeah. We can also hear you too.
Great. Great. It's so awesome to hear everyone's stories. My name's Christina, and I majored in international studies, and I minored in French and Francophone studies. Let's see. I'm also looking at your itinerary. I'm an alumni. I graduated about 2 years ago in fall 2018. I studied abroad in Aix-en-Provence, France, for a year. So yeah, it's been not too long.
Yeah, and then Christina also did a CSU IP program, which is something that I personally am not super familiar with. So I asked her to be on the panel to help represent that sort of program. Thank you so much. Okay, Israel, you are up.
Hi everyone, my name is Israel. I am a international business major student, and I am currently a senior, finishing my last semester before I graduated, and I had the opportunity to study abroad in Amsterdam during the fall of 2019 and the spring of 2020 in Hamburg.
Awesome. And last but not least.
I'm Kylie, and I'm majoring in international business and marketing, also looking at the questions that you provided. I'm currently a junior at Long Beach, and I went to the University of Wollongong, Australia. I got back from there in April, and I left in July, so I applied for the year term program.
Awesome. Cool, is that it?
Yeah, sorry. Okay. I'm looking at the questions, okay. Making sure
that's okay.
all of them.
Yeah. And before we move on to the next question, I just want to let you guys know for the questions that you plan to ask, if you guys can refrain from any like COVID questions or application questions, I'm going to send a whole set of links for you guys to figure that out. And we have drop-in advising. So these questions should mainly be geared towards the alumni questions and their experiences, because that's the focus. And studying abroad on your own term is like a completely different topic. So we are going to move on to the next question. So why did you guys want to study abroad in the first place? And then what made you decide on the program or the location that you did? And for this one, we're also going to start off with Amber.
So why did I want to study abroad? I never even thought about it. It all kind of happened. I was talking to to one student in my class, and she was telling me like, yeah, I'm getting ready to study abroad. I'm going to go to Germany. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I was like, you're really going to do it? She's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then she kind of paved the way for me to like think about maybe this is something I can do too. So let's see, I did it during my it was during my last year of CSULB. So I looked into it, prepared for it, and I knew I wanted to go to Japan for the longest time because just nerd factor, I love anime. So like I already knew I want to be in Japan no matter what. I just didn't know where. It was between Tokyo or Kyoto. And Tokyo is kind of like, when I was speaking with the advisor, Candace, you guys might not know her, she was telling me, okay, do you want to be like in Los Angeles or do you want to be in the suburban? Because Tokyo is going to be like Los Angeles and Kyoto is going to be more like suburban. And I'm like, I really don't like Los Angeles. It's tight, dirty, don't want to be it. But I just like wanted to be in a city that had a lot of transportation, and I was scared to be in a suburban area because not a lot of people might know English, and I know if I was in Tokyo, that's like a major city, so there's got to be one person that speaks English. So I just like did so much research, and I decided to do Meiji University, and I did Tokyo because I want to be in the main city of Japan. I want to be at a school that was really close to a bunch of transportation to the main city. And that's pretty much why I wanted to study abroad, because I wanted to, get out of my comfort zone. And I chose Japan because, I have a huge love for Japan's culture and history.
Yeah, I know that like language is definitely a factor. So choosing somewhere where you can actually communicate with the locals is perfect. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're going to move on to Christina again for the same question.
Let's see. So why did I want to study abroad? I think it's kind of similar in terms of wanting to get out of my comfort zone. I grew up I didn't get to travel a lot when I was growing up. And when I moved away from NorCal to SoCal for Long Beach State, I'm a transfer student. So I was looking into the international studies program, and I just knew right away that I really wanted to be away for a year, not just go to SoCal, but leave the country for a year. And the study abroad program is a perfect opportunity with the CSUIP year-long program. So that's partially the reason why I picked it. And the reason why I picked France is that I really wanted just to be able to be in a language that English is not the primary language, just so that I'm really being able to be like that fish out of water experience, and just to have that, just get out of my comfort zone and like see the world from a different perspective. So yeah,
I love that. Definitely feel the whole different perspective, so I get that. Okay, Israel, one more time.
So more along the same lines as everybody else, I wanted to study abroad ever since I transferred to Cal State Long Beach. As an international business major, I love to travel, and I wanted to expand on my academics, with the partnerships that the school has with all the schools around the world. And I chose Europe, very similar to what Christina said. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone and get into a language and the customs and the people that are completely different from what I'm used to in California or in Southern California. And that's what made me choose that. And initially I wanted to go to Switzerland, but by walking into the study abroad office and talking to the staff, that were very helpful in managing me and helping me get that whole year of study abroad, which I'm very grateful for.
Nice, awesome, cool. And then to end off this question, Kylie?
I remember wanting to study abroad since I was in high school. Like, I remember wanting to leave to a different country while I was in high school, like to be one of those exchange students. But then one of the main reasons why I picked Long Beach to go to was because I just said it has to have a good study abroad program, and that's why I picked the university. So when I saw that, I said I knew I had to go. And I originally applied for Germany to go for a year and got accepted. But that summer, so like deadlines are already all passed for the year, they told me you have to take a summer class in order to go. And I called 8 different schools, not one of them offered it. Like, they all stopped offering German. And then last minute I talked to like the study abroad office, and they told me like, well, this school in Australia, Wollongong, has your major, why don't you look at that? And the funny thing was, that semester my friend group was all from Wollongong. Like, so I was like, yeah, sure. And like the deadline already passed, but they just sent an email to see if there'd be room. And they said, yeah, like, you're on board. So at first I had no clue what I was going into, but I'm so glad with how it worked out, because everything just like, everything, it matched all my classes. And like I had family in Australia I'd never met before. So that was cool too. And I think it just like all lined up, and I'm really glad I went there instead.
Oh, that's so awesome. So happy for you. And then you guys heard it here first. She said we have a really great study abroad program. So thank you. Okay. Let's see. We'll just move on to the next question. Okay. The third question I have for you guys, what was the best aspect about studying abroad? And on the other hand, what challenges did you face? And we're going to mix it up a little bit, and Christina is going to start us off with this one.
Great. Yeah. So what's the best aspect about studying abroad? I think the most common, whenever I bring up this topic, is like travel and food.
Yeah.
It's like hands down like the usual answer. And then the next question, the next prompt is like, let me show you all the photos that I have. But I mean, that's the short answer. Like the medium, the long length answer is, I think, just kind of playing on like why I wanted to study abroad. And I think it's that whole fish out of water experience, where being able to see a different culture from just a different perspective, see my own like moving away outside the United States, but seeing the United States from a different perspective as well as being in Europe. And then specifically for the Aix-en-Provence program, all my classmates were international students. They weren't French students. So, and our only commonality was the French language. So it was really cool that you have all these, just like, it's a very international experience within France. And we're all like just trying to figure out how to live in France, and why do French people do things, and trying to understand the customs, like why did they do that? And then we'll all have a talk about it. But yeah, like it's fun. It's just a fun experience, and we still keep in touch too. Yeah, so that's answers your question.
Oh, wait, did you also answer the challenges? Was it just
Well, I mean, like,
kind
I
of
guess
weird?
yeah, like, I guess it's like all together, but like, I guess the challenges was really that transition period, which I feel like it kind of goes into your next question. So maybe
Yeah,
I'll leave
okay.
it for
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
funny. I just finished Emily in Paris on Netflix, and it's
Oh.
such a cheesy, like the
Everyone's been
cheesiest.
telling me about that.
It's so cheesy and quirky and so funny. So you're talking about how the French, like, why do the French do this? And the main character talks about that too. Okay.
Yeah.
Israel, do you want to answer the next question?
Yeah, so the best aspect for me for studying abroad was meeting just meeting new people and making friends, from around the world, getting out of that comfort zone and building, long time friendships, and also collaborating with them in school. It's not the same as it is in Long Beach. You have different, same goal, but just a different, route to get there. So it was an experience to collaborate with them. And some of the challenges, I would say, initially was not having that support system, maybe that myself or a lot of us are used to, having close friends and family. But on the contrary, for me, it was a great way to make new friends and meet a lot of people, to build that support system, within the people that I was going to school with. So it was a win-win situation.
Yeah, so it's funny. Your challenge was not like knowing anyone, and then the best aspect was you got to meet people. So kind of came full
Exactly.
circle for you. Yeah, so happy for you. And then Kylie.
I think the best aspects, like also going off what you said, like the people that you meet as well, because like those like friendships, I believe, will like last the longest because you all had the same goal, and then you all achieved that goal as well, and got to go through this new experience together, like, with the other exchange students. So that was my favorite part, and also just discovering like everything, like just discovering everything that's new. It's so like every day there's something different, like you're learning. I really love that. Challenges I did face, I think transportation had to be one of them for me. Like, yes, they have a free bus system where I was staying for within the city, but if I wanted to go anywhere else except for Sydney, I found it hard because you need a car. It'd be like in the United States, how like we don't really have like, they have more public transportation there, but here, like, you feel like you need a car. And also, it was my first time ever living on my own. Like the previous year, I was in a dorm, so I didn't cook. I was just in the dorm and everything. So going out there, this was my first time ever like buying my own food, like ever dealing with like my own like bank account, like ever like just everything was new. So so that was it was a good learning experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think I recognize those as a benefit of studying abroad is that learning experience and that sense of independence and freedom, but
Yeah.
also like the consequences sort of like having to do everything on your own. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, Amber, you're gonna tie off this question.
So for the best aspect about studying abroad for me was similar to all your guys' answers. Meeting new people. I met so many new people. Like I have so many like international friends that I like, touch base with. I have one close one in particular. She's in Sydney, Australia, and we exchange voice memos like once a month or bi-weekly just to see how we're doing. So that's one of my favorite things about studying abroad. I met so many new people, learned so many new cultures, and being in Japan in general, that's one of my favorite things. I love Japan. Japan food was so good and like surprisingly very affordable, very cheap. And another favorite thing I liked, I have a lot of favorite things, I'm sorry, but this one was like one of my favorites because like just traveling to other countries, because me and my friends would be like, you guys want to go to Korea? It's just 3 hours away, 150 like a flight round trip, let's do it. Or like, hey, you guys want to go to Taiwan? It's just like 2 hours away, like let's do it for the weekend. Like you cannot do that here, it's like a 10-hour flight, 3 hours, like no, like of course I'll do it. So that's just a travel aspect. And then some challenges that I had was, one peculiar thing about Japan is that I don't know why, but like I want to go to the gym, I want to use their gym, but I had to like, there was just so much things I had to do just to use a gym. Like I have to come into the gym without my shoes. I have to leave them outside. That's fine. That's part of the culture. But they want me to wrap my shoes in a plastic bag. And I'm like, okay. And then they want me to, buy a new pair of shoes or purchase red shoelaces so I can use just those shoes with the red laces to go into the gym. And I'm like, okay, this is just too much. And then I have to fill out a survey that I want to use a gym. If I don't fill out that survey, I can't be a part of the gym session. I have to wait till the next time they open up the survey to be a part of the gym. And it was just too much. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm just going to walk, because I walk so much in Japan because everything's walking distance. So that's just one peculiar thing. And then another thing I wanted to mention too is that money. I'm not super financially well off, so I had to, really save, and I have to like look at scholarships. So I did the Gilman scholarship, and I was a Gilman recipient. So if you have any questions about, applying for Gilman, do not hesitate to ask me, because I was a recipient. I got a $5,000 scholarship from them. So if I can help you in any way, just please let me know.
Yeah, thank you. So going to the best aspect about traveling, I was in Europe. I studied abroad in Europe. So I think Israel and Christina might be familiar with this, but like those Flixbuses, it's like $20 to get from like a country to another country. So I spent like $100 and I like went to like all of Eastern Europe. So it's so cheap, and I don't know why a flight here costs minimum of $100 in the States, but it's crazy. So I really appreciate that aspect as well. Before we move on to the next one, I know Alexa has a question, but we are going to answer those at the end. So if you guys do have questions, you guys can think of them and then put it in the chat, but we'll hold off until it's like 10, 15 more minutes. So, okay, on to the next question. So a lot of them have already talked about this, but this is more of like a concrete question about it. So what was your experience with the cultural and language immersion, and how did you deal with cultural shock? So most, if not all, experienced a cultural shock, but and language differences. But Kylie, even though she's in Australia, probably had some cultural barriers that she'll probably talk about. So we'll start off with Israel for this one, and I will put the question in the chat for you guys. Oh, oops.
So
Yeah,
for
Israel.
my experiences culturally of the language, um, it was enthusiastic, nervous. There's still parts within the school or within certain geographical areas of Amsterdam and that they do speak English. It's not, it's a different manner of how they learn it and speak it. So sometimes, if you're speaking too fast or too slow, it may be difficult. And then there's those situations where you run into a store, into somebody that doesn't speak English. So, you do your best to, speak your Dutch or German, so it was an interesting experience to get myself out of my comfort zone. And in dealing with the culture shock, it was such a strong culture shock since my sister, as I mentioned, lives here in France. So I traveled often to Europe. So I was familiar with the currencies. So it was sort of experience overall. So
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Okay, Kylie.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. So I honestly, Wollongong honestly reminded me a lot of California. Well, just Sydney, that area did, except that I don't think I really had a culture shock, but in my opinion, I think interacting with Australians was a bit hard at first. I can't explain why. All the other exchange students agreed with me, like, yeah, it's kind of hard to like break the ice at first with them, but then like eventually as you get to know them, then you get like really close. I think it's just like different senses of humor, and like, but it is also fun because they say like what's different. We just compare what's different from like Australia and the U.S. And I think not really culture shock, but what was different for sure was the learning system and school system as well. Just like class was only once a week, and assignments were heavily weighted. There'd only be like 4 assignments throughout the whole semester, but they were heavily weighted. So you just had to make sure you did well on those assignments rather than like doing certain assignments that are due each week. So that was a bit different, and just it was more independence. So like you had to like teach like and learn on your own rather than like usually doing all this group work like we do at Long Beach. So that was different, just like having to reteach myself like how to learn in a different way. So I was worried about that, but like there's so many people that help you out and they provide like good tutoring also.
Yeah.
It was good.
Awesome. Yeah, so there's some differences. I remember when I studied in, I'm just gonna like add all my experiences to like sprinkle it into everyone to MC the whole event. I was in London, so the Brits have this really dry sense of humor, and it's just so hard to like talk to them and like make jokes because like I don't get it and then they don't get my jokes. So I definitely understand the humor thing. Okay. I believe it's Amber. You're up.
So my experience with cultural language immersion honestly was very smooth because I never traveled out of the country until I studied abroad. Going to Japan was my first time ever leaving America. So obviously, or I'm a planner, so I had to just research everything so I'm prepared to the best of my ability. So before going to Japan, I studied for 6 months, like the Japanese language. I just like the Japanese language has 3 alphabets. Okay, so like I was trying to learn 3 alphabets in preparation to survive there. But I also read so many blogs and forums too, like what to do not to like offend people, like what should I be aware of. So when I was there I didn't really have much of a culture shock because I was already, prepared and studied beforehand what I should and shouldn't do. And like I mentioned before, like I watched anime like so much, so I'm aware of how, they're gonna be acting or what I should be expecting. So I feel like, my takeaway is that if you're going to some place you've never been to before, like do your research so that way you can just, be prepared and not have that much of a culture shock.
Yeah, that like preparation is kind of key, especially like going to a different country and studying there. So I think that's gonna be great advice for anyone to go abroad. All right, Christina's gonna wrap up this question for us.
So similar to Amber, that was like when I went to France, it was my first time outside of the country. Hawaii doesn't really count. but yeah, it's really about like a year and a half before going abroad, I didn't know any French, but gearing up for it, I was like, oh, I gotta study French, gotta like make sure my language skills are better. And then I spoke a lot with alumni, what we're doing right here right now. And I had like French conversation partners before just to kind of practice. But of course, like when you initially go there, especially if I've never been to France before that moment. Yeah, it was just getting used to all like just like how systems of like currency and like culturally how they do things. Even just like at grocery market stuff, like they'll have like, oh, they have live markets on the weekends in X number of months. I didn't know that. So I think, yeah, it's just I did a lot of, like my homework beforehand, and then it helps at least cushion the transition. And then you make friends along the way. You're confused together. So, and that's always the fun part.
Yeah, you had me going that like I thought I was the only one that wasn't ready for culture shock, and then you said that everyone else was confused. I was like, okay, so it's not just me, but I think I mean I prepared well too, or at least I thought I did. But when I got there, the whole like random standards and norms, it's just weird, and you get used to it though. So definitely understand that. Okay, so this is going to be the last question I have for the alumni. So if you guys are ready to like start putting your questions in, go ahead, and you can direct them to a specific person based on where they've gone or just their personality, or you can just ask it to everyone. So my last question for the panel is, how has studying abroad impacted you to this day? And Kylie is going to start us off for this one.
I think for me, the way it's impacted me the most is just I want to travel everywhere now. Like just because when you meet all these people like from that country, like from within the country studying, and other countries as well. So then you gain their perspective and then places they have been, and then you discover where they've been. You go, oh, I want to go there now. Like for example, I feel like over Christmas break, a lot of U.S. citizens go to Europe like for Christmas break. But then when I was in Australia, they're all like, yeah, like I went to Vietnam, I went to Cambodia for Christmas. I was like, oh, really? Like I would have never like imagined like going there. And then I started researching more into it and like seeing their experiences. And now all I want to do is travel Asia in that area. So it just opened like my eyes like to more opportunities, and like I constantly just want to go. It just showed me more places to travel to, and I feel like it's impacted me also, just like how we were saying earlier with like the friendships you make, and how someone said they like talk every month to them on the phone. So I understand that. It's just like a bond you can't describe. that's as cheesy as it sounds.
So wholesome. So with wanting to travel, I guess being the biggest impact, what's your next stop after the pandemic?
I applied to go to Thailand for fall 2021. So hopefully I'm trying to graduate for like by then. So hopefully that's my last semester. I'm praying that doesn't get canceled.
Praying for you too. Okay. Amber?
Sorry, I was muted. So for how studying abroad has impacted me to this day, wow, I don't know, it impacts me like every day, to be honest, because like I always think about how much, like Kylie, I want to travel, I want to like go back and study abroad again if I could, but it's opened me up to like so much more possibilities. And I've learned like I just took so much learnings from my trip, because America is really individualistic, and then when I was in Japan, they're more collectivistic. So they think more like as a group, and then over here we're more like for ourselves. And there's nothing. There's no. It's not bad or good either way. It's just differences that you just gotta learn to be open minded to. So I just feel like that's kind of just playing a huge role in everything going on lately. So I thank my study abroad experience for that, and just navigating through these really turbulent times. And then in addition, I feel like since I traveled to another country that I'd never been before, I feel like I can do anything. Like, I was by myself and for like 6 months in a country I'd never been to and didn't even speak Japanese, but like I had the greatest time of my life. Like it just sets you up for like, you feel like you can do anything after or go anywhere after. And let's see what else. Oh, one more thing is too, is that I actually want to like be serious about the Japanese language. Like I didn't think I would want to learn it, but I actually want to study it more heavily so that I can be better and fluent in it, so that I have more opportunities to go back possibly for work or something like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely understand the whole like I can do it sort of mentality. I missed my train once to a separate country, and I like just sat down in the train station and cried. I didn't know what to do. And then I was like, you know what? I got this. I like bought a random ticket, the Flixbus I was telling you guys, $15, and I was able to make it to the next country. So it's definitely like teaches you problem solving skills, and like you got this, and it's all mentality. Okay. Christina.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to what everyone kind of brought up is, like one, yeah, I'd like to travel one of these days. Yeah, maybe to Japan. That would be really awesome.
You should.
I know. Yeah, I'm also an anime person as well. So,
Amen.
yeah, right. Yeah. But yeah, I think also, I think going into it, I think it was just this experience of like no one around me um like studied abroad before in my like family and my friend group, and then also like I never got to really like travel outside of the country. So after I came back, it really like made me feel like I can really do anything, and I kind of like put my mind to it, as cheesy as that sounds. But also like it showed other people around me like, oh, you could do it too, like for my friends and my family. And they would be like, well, why did you, like, for them, like they're like, why did you go? And then I would just explain my experiences, and that would open like really awesome conversations as well. And also, like, side note, I feel like yeah, especially as being international studies major, like the study abroad experience helped me see a lot of things in international context. So I always like seeing like, oh, what's the German news thinking about like what's happening in the US, or what's Canada or Japan or even South Korea. So it really kind of opened my perspective to be like a lot more international as well.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, we're all part of this global community anyway, so it's our job to do our part and be aware of the other cultures that are literally like on this planet with us. Okay. Um, and the last person for my last question, Israel.
Last but not least, just to wrap up what everybody has been saying, it's a confidence builder, to be able to do, to be able to study abroad and do anything that comes your way and become independent. When you're away from home, and as you mentioned, you have to buy a Flixbus ticket, or you have to take the train, or you need to find the closest supermarket, to buy food, or as Amber mentioned, get a gym membership and follow the rules and the customs. At first it might seem impossible, but you put your mind to it, and cohesively with friends that you make, you're able to do anything, and it makes you want to learn more personally, and makes me want to actually, potentially do a master's program here in Europe, or maybe in another part of the world, to venture out and see what's out there, and make more, connections, networks, friends, and, be, part of the global community, as it was mentioned.
Awesome. I love that. What a way to end that. Okay. So, I know we're a bit like kind of behind on time. So I'm gonna ask the questions that we have, and if like all the panelists kind of have a similar answer, we'll just move on to the next question. So, I believe there was one from Alexa at the beginning. So Alexa asks, how did you become friends with the international students or locals, and did you attend events at the university? So anyone can go.
I think orientation for sure definitely helps. I believe I'm pretty sure like all the study abroad programs have this. I'm not sure, but there's definitely a day. There was a day where it was only international students, and like they had like exercises and stuff to get to know each other, and also the accommodation I stayed in had international students and Australians, and there'd be like some movie nights, and like we'd have like games and competitions and stuff. So like it and also we had a giant Facebook Messenger group chat with like 500 people, like everyone in the accommodation. So someone would be like, "Oh, I'm doing this. If anyone wants to come down, like, and also like go to the beach." And so it was really and everyone was like so open to it because everyone because it's the new semester, so everyone wants to get to know each other.
Awesome, yeah. Do you guys all have pretty similar experiences or anything else you guys want to share?
No, very similar experiences. I would add that when I studied abroad, there were a lot of social activities, so like museum trips, trips to Germany, trips to Brussels, where you can actually get to know people more. So it was a great experience.
Yeah.
And I just want to add to Alexa, like, honestly, you're going to become friends with international students no matter what. Like, even if you didn't want to, like, you're going to be friends with them no matter what, because you're all in the same boat, like, from other places studying in one place. So you guys will be friends no matter what. Like, I can guarantee you.
Awesome. Yeah, Christina, any last words on that one?
Yeah, so in France, there's like Erasmus network, and also there's like international Facebook groups as well that you can find people who are expats. I joined a sports team, so that was a really good way to not only use my French, but yeah, like to meet other people too.
Okay, cool. Got lost in the chat. Okay. Aaron, April, or just Aaron asked for everyone, how did you handle homesickness? Pretty good question.
For me, well, I FaceTimed my family almost every day, or at least tried to. And if I ever like did feel lonely, I would just use that time to like go somewhere like whether it was like just going like the grocery store or just like being with someone, just be like, hey, like, do you guys want to hang out like in the dorm, or like do you want to do this? Like just making sure like I surrounded myself like with like people or just like distractions in the meantime, just like realizing like that like what's going on, like I'm in a different country.
Same thing with Kylie. Like I messaged I would instant message my family every other day or every day just to let them know, hey, I'm gonna be like walking in Shinjuku right now, just keeping you updated with what I'm doing. But to be honest too, like you want to choose a place that you wouldn't think you would get homesick. I would feel, because I was so happy to be in Japan, like I didn't get homesick at all. So that's just something to keep in mind as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, like I would definitely pick a country that you're excited about. That kind of helps. Also, pro tip: don't look at anything that you like. Don't look at an Instagram food feed of back home. Like, be like, oh no, I wish I could. Don't do that. You're gonna go down like a lane of, oh, I wish I could. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I was towards the end of my study abroad program. I was getting really homesick. Everyone was going home, and then I didn't accidentally, but I joined a Vietnamese cooking group, and I saw my home food, and I was so like sad and hungry. So don't do that to yourself. Avoid American stuff while you're there. Okay. I think Israel, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm okay. Everybody covered it already.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. Since we're almost near the end, I just want to drop one link. This is a kind of like a Google form to get everyone's information, and then our office will follow up with you. And it's sort of like a kind of like attendance sort of thing, not really, but it's also a way for us to follow up with you if you guys have any questions about studying abroad and so and so. All right, I will move on. We'll just keep going anyway. Okay. All right, Chan asks, any advice to those who want to study abroad for the very first time? So I think anyone can answer this one pretty strongly. So
was it just any advice for like
any advice, apparently?
Just going for it. I bet basically like I just think you should just go in with no doubts. That's my advice.
Yeah, it's like commitment, like just go all in. Yeah.
Yeah, as basic as it sounds, just like if you have the opportunity, take it. Because who knows, a pandemic could come or something.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. So as soon as this pandemic is over, I feel like there's gonna be thousands of people like trying to apply.
And just plan ahead and just do your research and contact people about the place that you're going to get as much information as you can.
Oh, going off of that, what she said, like go on YouTube channels and just like what I did was I went on YouTube channel and like on YouTube, and I would search the school and like people's vlog experiences, and then I'd comment saying, hey, I'm going to this school, and then I actually like got in touch with a few people so that they give you more in-depth advice because they're going through the same experiences you did.
And with that said, I'm also gonna send in the chat a bunch of emails. It's our email, my email, and the panel's email that they've allowed to be sent out to you guys. So Um, Anyone else want to add to the advice question while I do this?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same. Like, yeah, just
For
go
sure.
for it. Just jump in. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll move on to the next one. Yeah, so that was pretty much the question, the answer to that, just go for it. Alexa also asked, how was the housing and dorming experience and what would you do if you got sick or needed to buy medication? And did you bring your own for that? I think it's only if anyone can answer it, so.
I brought a lot of different pills with me, like allergy pills, like Advil, because like some things like you might not be able to find while you're there. So I definitely packed a lot of that while I was out there. What else? Well, what else was the question? That's like all I remembered. Like,
oh yeah, it was like housing, dorming, medicine. Yeah, so housing and your dorming experience. So like the living accommodation.
I lived in, it was like an apartment. It had a kitchen and I had 4 other roommates and it was co-ed. So that was different because I was used to the dorm where like you're either with just girls or boys. But I was living with like girls and boys, like so sharing the same bathroom and stuff. So that was different. But y'all just create a roommate agreement. Like the school actually has like the accommodation, you have to create roommate agreements and rules, and then they come every 2 weeks to make sure like your apartment's like fine. It's not total wreck. That was
My situation is similar to like I brought any medicine that I think would be really hard to find in Japan, or like I just brought medicine that I knew like I would be comfortable with using, because I'm not going to sit in the pharmacy trying to like decipher whatever medicine it is in Japanese, you know, like so just bring any extra medication that you can, but also be careful what's not allowed, because I remember I can't remember what it was, but Japan didn't allow one type of medicine that we allow in the United States, so just be cautious because you don't want to get in trouble at the airport. And then my housing / dorming experience too. Oh, real quick too. You get insurance typically when you're in that country. So I had insurance with Japan. If I got sick, I can use like the doctors or nurses within my city. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then my housing / dorming experience was amazing. Like I had my own room, my own bathroom. Okay, that's amazing. And I shared it. I had like neighbors, like not neighbors, but I had other people living in the same flat with me, so we shared the kitchen and living room, but I had my own bedroom and like private bathroom to come to at the end of the day. So just do research on the type of housing that's offered and be very careful, because there's curfew limits. My dorming did not have curfew limits, but other people did, and they were not very happy. So just do your research.
Yeah. Christina or Israel, do you want to tag along on this question? Or unless you already did.
I would just say, like, for me, actually I did a homestay with a French family. I would just explore the options that are available. And yeah, medication, definitely bring your own. I know in France they have these like green plus signs that you can go in and it's like a pharmacy, like, but yeah, definitely try to like maybe like pack your own.
Mm-hmm. Israel, anything to add for this one?
Pretty much the same. I mean, I didn't bring a lot of medicine myself, but I was fortunate enough where my dorm was, I was centrally located to a pharmacy and a supermarket, so everything kind of worked out if I needed anything. But just like everyone else said, just be cautious of what's allowed in that country and what you can and cannot take, because you don't want to get in trouble for sure.
Yeah, I would not want to get in trouble either at the airport or as soon as I get into the university, so let's try to avoid that. And Stacy asked you guys, did you take on any internships or jobs while you were studying? So I don't know if you guys did, so.
I had a job when I was there. I worked at a taxi company. I know, a bit random, but so because I was doing a year, I really needed money, and the school has a job portal like for all students, and like when you sign up for it, you have to like, do like a certain process and like training course, but it's really simple, and it will update you with jobs like every week or day. And I'm doing international business and marketing, and I saw like a marketing position for this taxi company. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll just apply. And then I got it. I'm like, oh, cool. It was my first job too. So
That's amazing. I don't know anyone that's actually worked abroad for like during their study abroad. So that's actually really cool to hear.
The reason, Teresa, is that normally with your visa, you're not allowed to work abroad, but Australia is different than the other countries.
Oh, okay.
The Australian visa allows work, like the UK visa with a tier 4. You did an internship and Suhan did an internship in London because you had a visa that allowed that. You also could have worked and made money, but we don't. Yeah, I didn't tell you that before. Never mind.
I won't tell students that then. Okay.
Yeah.
Noted, noted.
Yeah.
Did the rest of the panel work or do an internship or anything?
I didn't do any internships or jobs. I honestly just felt like 6 months just wasn't a really good amount of time to just really look for one. But I did know people within my same group that was from CSULB. Some of them just taught English on the side to make some like extra cash while they were there. So it's definitely doable.
Yeah, and I would definitely check like the job boards for the university. But I would say like I actually worked in a hostel. So for a little bit, yeah. So that was super fun. Got to meet a ton of people. So that might be a resource if provided your visa checks out.
Yeah, wow. Now I know 2 people that have worked during their study abroad. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Israel, did you do anything or just?
No, but just like everyone else is saying, I would check with the school, and if the visa allowed it, I pretty much spend my time at school, and the free extra time was just the activities and venturing out, in the city.
Yeah. I think I would have wanted to work too. I don't know why, but it would have been cool. So we're almost like done with time, but would the panel be okay with staying back to answer the rest of the questions? I could see everyone's faces, so you guys can just nod or something. Okay, cool. All right, we'll just keep it going. All right. So Vanessa asked, how did you decide between doing a semester or a year? So Amber did a year, or I'm sorry, did a semester, and everyone else did either a year or was abroad a year. So anyone can answer this.
For me, since I'm the only one that did a semester, I'll just explain why I did a semester. Honestly, it's because of time constraint. Like I was going to be graduating literally it was in my situation because I was scheduled to graduate May 2019 for CSULB, but I was going to be abroad from March 2019 to August. So it worked out in the end, but like basically I had to fly back to walk and then fly back to finish school in Japan. So I just did a semester because that was the best, like that fit with my predicament. But honestly, if I could redo things, I would do a year because 6 months is really too short. So you should do a year if you could.
And then the rest of the panel, if you guys want to just talk about why you decided the term that you did.
That's why I did a year too. I just felt like for the first semester, like how I thought of it was like a big learning curve for me, and then like the second semester, I felt like a lot confident, like where I was walking around and stuff like that. I felt like I was like, this is my turf now.
I love that. You're not the freshman anymore.
Yeah, I know. Like the next semester, I don't know. It's weird. I felt at home. So then I was showing people like the newest like international students around too. So I don't know. It was like definitely a big confidence booster. Like I guess when you really get to know a certain place. But it was fun.
Yeah. Christina?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like, yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's the reason why I picked a year for sure, because I just felt like the first semester is like warm up, and then the second semester is like, I got this. So
yeah, that I got this mentality is running strong with this group of the panel. Israel, I know you had a bit of a unique situation, so if you want to talk about that, yeah.
Yeah, for me it was a year. Initially, I wanted to do a semester, but just with going into the study abroad office and the leftover classes that I had to graduate, it actually, panned out with fulfilling those requirements and then being into different locations. So it was, as everyone mentioned, like the first semester was enough just to get used to it, how the environment is, the people, the customs, and then going, even though it was a different location, but it was within Europe, it felt more comfortable, getting around with the Flixbus, the public transportation, the bullet train, and just everything, where to, go get food or what to look for. It was more comfortable. It didn't feel as lost.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Amber in saying like if I could do my semester again or my study abroad, I would definitely have done a year. Like after at the end of my study abroad, I was like, I know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm going home. So I feel for you guys. Um, Thanks for answering those questions. Okay, I think we have a bit more. If I'm wrong, then okay. Stella asked, was the process of obtaining a visa and insurance difficult, or did the school baby you through the process?
I have to say, from my experience, the school, like the study abroad office, was a tremendous help. Initially going to Amsterdam, I did everything uh, pre-arrival to the location. So like the visa, the housing, just everything was pretty much done. And all I needed to do once I arrived was maybe do some minimal paperwork and pick up the resident permit. The same thing in Germany, in Hamburg. It was the same process. So I'm very thankful for that. And it was very minimal what I needed to do once I was there at the location.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I agree. The study abroad office was really helpful with like transitioning everything smoothly. And for Australian visas, I've noticed it's pretty easy. You just go on Australia, the government website, and they have all different types of visas. Like they have working visas, student visas. And I was considering going back just to do a working visa, because what I noticed was like a lot of like there's so many backpackers, and they just stay at hostels and like have like they just like have jobs like while they're there so they could travel. But so getting a visa was fairly easy. Like went like step by step. So it just depending on like what your circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for most of it's like a lot of step by step, and it's like just inputting information over and over and over again. Okay. Christina or Amber, do you guys have experiences with visa and insurance or anything?
Yeah, for Japan, getting the Japan visa was fairly easy. Like you just you go onto the, I think, Japan embassy website, and then you just kind of read how to do it. For me, I went to Los Angeles to the Japan embassy, and then you just apply for it, and they'll mail you your visa. One thing to keep in mind though, at the airport in Japan, they're gonna ask you, do you want to make it a work visa or no? I would say just make it a work visa, because just in case you do want to work, you have it ready. So that's what I did. I just prepared myself in case I do work. So just remember to tell them, yes, I do want it to be a work visa when you're at the airport. But for the school, when I was there, they're so nice. They have Japanese students that volunteer to help international students fill out paperwork for insurance and housing, and just registering yourself as a student, international student in Japan. So the school will take care of you. I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna like leave you out in the cold with like nothing to know about applying for a visa to a different country. So I think it's pretty well understood that like all study abroad offices are super like collaborative and really helpful. So we're literally here to like help you guys. So the other alumni panelists, anything to add?
Yeah, I would say it was echo the same thing. As like they gave us like an orientation, and then they walked us through and actually like had a little field trip to the visa office. The only thing that I would say to that is like when it comes to France and their paper system, and just I would just shake my head silently. But yeah, it just make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think that's all the questions. Well, Stacy asked where to get more information on graduate study abroad programs, but I'm not too sure if you guys all did it for undergraduate. So I'll just send her a link for graduate school. But how it works is you can study abroad like on an exchange for your graduate program. You just have to talk to your graduate advisor about that, and we can help you find programs that offer your master's or your graduate program and see what is the right fit for you. So
or if she wants to do a graduate program post graduation from Long Beach, which is what Israel talking about doing, that's pretty straightforward. You apply to the university you want to go to, just as if it were the US. You just go on their website and apply to the university. Mm-hmm. We've had really good experience. All of our students who've applied to do a master's degree abroad have been successful. And the thing to know is that it's only 1 year So ends up being less expensive than if you did it in the US because you're there for a shorter amount of time, even though it might seem like it's more expensive. And some countries it's free because they support higher education for everyone. So places like Sweden and Norway, and I'm not sure, Israel, do you know if Germany has free master's programs? I think they do.
They do actually. I was fortunate enough when I was in Amsterdam, I met a young lady who is from Denmark, and she was telling me that she was fortunate enough that they actually paid her to go to school. So she was actually going to school, and she was able to take care of all her living expenses. And she was, even though maybe she didn't have in mind to do a master's program, but she was going to do it because of that whole situation. So that's one of the things I'm definitely looking into being out here. Definitely
Okay.
worth looking into.
I'm gonna try one more time, but Suhan, are you there? Do you want to talk a little bit? If not, you can just say it in the chat that you're not there.
I'm here. Okay.
Suhan,
I didn't think
yay.
I was gonna speak, so I didn't like my mic not working. So
It's okay. Sharon asked if I wanted you to speak for a little bit, so you can
Hi,
talk about your
Suhan.
program.
hello. Okay. Is there anything in specific that you want me to like kind of talked about or?
Sharon mentioned that she can have you talk about the JET program, so teaching abroad in Japan, if you want. So we're leaning more towards that sort of process and experience.
Yeah. So like I've been looking. I didn't really think about like what I wanted to do like postgraduate, but I know I wanted to do something international related, and this program kind of came up, and I've had some interest in Japan for a while now, and I had a minor in Japanese too, so it was just like a good opportunity. And the process is pretty straightforward. They also have like a website, and like if anyone is interested in like more like a more detailed discussion, like feel free to, and you can email me or like message me on like Instagram, I guess, if you want to. But yeah, this program it's once you get in, the contract is a year and you can renew it up to like 3 to 5 years. And it's just a really good opportunity if you want to do something abroad and you just want to live in a place for, like living in a place when you're still figuring out like what's the next step. And I just feel like teaching is gonna like allow me to just have like a lot of experiences. And I actually like recently found out my placement, and it's just in like a rural island in Japan that I've never heard before. My placement, so I'm like super excited about that. And I would definitely like encourage everyone to like, especially if you've studied abroad, to like look into some of your options that you can do after graduating your undergrad. Like there's a lot of options out there: teaching abroad, volunteer abroad, or grants that you can apply for if you want to go to grad school abroad or other things. Yeah,
there's a lot of resources out there. Awesome. Thanks so much, Suhan, for talking about that.
I just wanted to see if Nick wanted to say anything. Nick, you've been very silent.
Yes, I
know you weren't on the panel, but I see that you're there. Yeah.
Is there something in particular?
No, just anything you'd like to add for the good of the group.
Sure. Yeah, it's a fun experience. I recommend it. Even though I was there for 1 month, it was a lot. Like, I still have a lot of memories from that. Like, just 1 month can make a huge difference. Like, I already have the wanting to go back already. So.
Do you want to tell them where you went, Nick, for your 1 month before the pandemic sent you home?
Sure. I'll turn my screen on. I was staying with Kylie. I was at Wollongong in Australia. So yeah, I was in New South Wales there.
And you took a lot of photos for your short time that you were there.
I did. I tried to make a plan.
Yeah, if any of you go on our website, you will see Kylie's and Nick's photos featured on the Wollongong website for study abroad.
Yeah, I guess for Wollongong, the university, you get to move in before the university like starts for semester. So I try to like do as much as I can, and I'm really grateful that I actually did that when the pandemic did hit.
Thanks, Nick. I didn't want to leave you out since I saw that you were there and you actually attempted to study abroad for a longer period of time.
Yeah, I was just curious to hear from others what they had from their experience.
Good. I'm glad you joined us.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of alumni in this video Zoom, so there's more alumni than there are actual students. So.
No, actually, there were 10 students at some point who were not alumni.
Oh,
so,
really? Okay.
Yeah, I counted
There's
them.
a lot.
Well, yes. But for those of you who are still on who want to study abroad, be sure to get in touch with us. Teresa has virtual advising hours every week. You can find them on our website. She can refer you to one of the other advisors. If you want to go somewhere in Europe, then Lauren will be your advisor, and she was Israel's advisor for both Amsterdam and Germany. Don't forget, you can do this split thing. You don't also necessarily have to go for a year to the same place, or you could be a serial study abroad person like Kylie, who's just trying to keep, she was trying to go for spring, but I couldn't find any place for her to go to spring. She wanted to go to Spain in the spring and then
yeah, I applied for like, I was thinking Spain, then Korea, and then like Hong Kong, but I was just trying to find like any place that had classes. I just wanted to travel again.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm thank you for that, all those emails and help again.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm saying, just reach out for those of you who haven't studied abroad yet. Be sure and reach out to us because we're happy to help you, and match your major to the location or just the place you're interested in going, or you go out on a limb and go somewhere you don't know anything about, like Amber, and say, yeah, okay, I'm going to Japan, but no experience with Japan. We'll help you figure it out.
Yeah. So Alexa asked, how can they apply to Suhan's teaching program? Yeah. Suhan responded to the question. Yeah.
She's already got that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to answer, but Suhan beat me to it. I guess there's one last question from Stacy. How many units did you guys take per semester and where? Well, we can help you guys look for available classes, but the alumni can answer how many units did you guys take per semester. It's a bit of a difficult question because it's CSULB units versus the foreign university. So I don't know how you guys want to answer that question.
I took 4 classes and they're equivalent to Long Beach, so it'd be 12 units.
Yeah.
For the school I was at for Meiji University, 1 class equals 2 units. So in order to meet like financial aid requirement, or to be a full-time student, I think the minimum is 12 units. So I took 14 just in case I failed a class. So I would make sure like I had more than enough to be like passing that year.
That's funny. Yeah, I love that. Israel or Christina, if you guys want to.
Christina had no choice on this.
Okay.
You got to take 15 units. You're just out of luck. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was the same for me. Like 12. It was 12 Cal State Long Beach units to be full time, and I think one class was like 2.5. I guess ECTS credits they call it, or something like that.
Right.
So the conversion is a little bit different, but as long as you take full-time status at Long Beach, you should be full-time status at the study abroad location.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and to add to that is definitely work with your advisor to make sure everything is matchy, just so you come back with all the credits you worked for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to come back and nothing was approved or nothing was good to go. So definitely keep checking in with us. I believe that's all the questions, unless someone last minute, but I want to again thank the alumni panelists for joining us tonight, taking time. Israel, it's like 3 a.m. for him wherever he's at.
Yeah.
So an extra appreciation for him.
No
But
worries. Thank you.
yeah. So I think that's the end. So I sent in a bunch of links for you guys. Everyone's emails in there as well. If you guys want to follow up with them, they would be happy to help you as well. I can also answer any questions. Sharon can answer questions. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. It's a bit late, but thanks again. So yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you
problem.
so much. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah.